Boundaries are very useful. There are so many kinds of boundaries, and you could also, another word for boundaries would be limits. If you are connecting to the limits right now, I don't know where you're sitting, but I guess you might be listening to this from a place with walls. And the walls around you, they create safety. They create a frame, a structure where you can feel protected. Boundaries can be structures, boundaries can be road signs that give you a map. Okay, you want to go to Germany, so you have to go this way and follow that way so it can feel safe if you because you know where you're going. You have a GPS how to get to your destination. And boundaries in terms of body boundaries, you are not limitless, even though it might feel sometimes like that. But for instance, if I just attach my arm like this, it will not fall off because it's attached to my body. So I can throw and go out, and then I still, it's a big movement, but it is stopped because of my body limits. Many people actually, they are either not aware where their boundaries or limits are. And then we operate in a range that is very small. If I take again that body example, if I think I reach totally out and actually, let's see how, I do this and I think it's my full extension, then I'm operating in my limits. If I extend more, then I'm actually stretching my limits and I reach out. That's an example, a body example. Da, 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 da. So I'm going to change that a bit. And what I would like to elaborate more on is in your daily life, and I address women in particular, it's also applicable for guys, for men. But since I work for women, I want to give some examples where you encounter boundaries and what that can do if you do not respect them. For instance, often you can work, and you notice from your body, maybe your eyes get tired, maybe you notice your shoulders get you box yourself in because you lean like this, and you keep on going and you do not take a break. That actually works against you. That's one example. The other example is sexuality. If you are allowing actions or people more into you as you are comfortable with and as it's in your limits, you're also not respecting your boundaries. Another example is work situation. When you are working and you accept a salary that is far below than what your service is worth, you're also not respecting your boundaries. When you're a mother, in case you are a mother and you have a kid that constantly demands attention and you don't give clear boundaries, it can work against you and also the kid. If you're a mother, for instance, of a teenager, and also here, boundaries are incredibly important because when you set your boundaries clear, it's much easier to deal with whatever is happening. The thing is, oh yeah, there's one more example. For instance, with keeping appointments or being on time. When people constantly come late or when they keep shifting appointments around, do you let that happen? If you do, ask yourself, am I keeping my boundaries clearly or not? Summary. So the boundaries, coming up for yourself with actually what is not acceptable for you anymore and declaring that clearly. If you do that, you will notice that you create space. You create space, and that actually can feel a lot more free than when you're constantly tiptoeing and not declaring your boundaries, being, for instance, afraid to say no or afraid to clearly set what you're available for and what not. Alrighty. And what you gain by that is actually you can feel much more in connection with yourself, loving connection with yourself, and also have more respect for you, but also how other people see you. Because if you're not available for anything anytime anymore, people will respect you much more and also will connect to you in a different way. So that's all nice and well. Maybe you ask yourself, okay, but, yes, but there's always a reason why things can be different. And I get it. Here we come to the next point. You can only set your boundaries clearly when you know them. Sounds so simple. But for many of us, including myself sometimes, I've come a long way with that. But of course, I'm not perfect and neither no one is. And that's also not desirable. But in knowing yourself and also respecting your boundaries, you also have to act on it. And that's the part that gets really interesting. I've had in the last 2 days 3 conversations with colleagues and friends where it was very clear that the boundaries were not respected. And one friend was somebody who actually knows very well what can happen if she doesn't respect her boundaries, and she kept on, for instance, working anyway, not listening to the coming up headache or the fatigue that came up, and missing the point of taking another action. The other friend is also a hardworking professional with high levels of body awareness, knowing everything about the body, and still not taking a break when it was necessary in order to feel refreshed, in order to actually have enough energy that you can be there for others. And why? And here's where I can help you with. Some people operate the best with the maximum power, amount of freedom, and others work better in structures and schedules. When you're going to join on the next mission, I can support you with building a clear system where you can listen to yourself and notice, now I need to take a different course. And that can be one simple moment, like, for instance, stopping what you do, go out into the open and have a walk, or in a conversation when you feel like somebody is talking and not listening, to clearly say, stop in a loving way and make yourself heard. That is about respecting your inner boundaries.